be kept together in detention. Administration officials have offered different explanations for how the policy would be implemented and how and when all approximately 2,300 children would be reunited with parents. Sunday's events were a call to President Trump to reunite the families immediately, cease family detention, and reverse the administration's zero-tolerance border crossing policy, according to organizers. A statement from Families Belong Together obtained by NBC News said parents should not be criminally prosecuted for doing what all parents do, which is to bring their children to safety. This horrible nightmare for families will end only when the Trump administration permanently stops his 100% prosecution policy. In New York City, about 30,000 people showed up for a march across the Brooklyn Bridge, chanting, "Immigrants built this bridge." Sweltering heat did not deter thousands gathered at the White House for one of the day's largest protests, which included many wearing white for the cause and carrying signs that read, "What's next? Concentration camps," and "I care. Do you?" in reference to a jacket First Lady Melania Trump recently wore on a trip to visit child migrants. Civil rights icon John Lewis of Georgia joined demonstrators in Atlanta and drew parallels between Saturday's protest and the anti-segregation rallies in the 1960s. Lewis said, "As a nation and a people, we can do better. Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep marching." During the rallies, the president tweeted about the current immigration laws, saying, "When people come into our country illegally, we must immediately escort them back without going through years of legal maneuvering. Our laws are the dumbest anywhere in the world. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Dems want open borders and are weak on crime." Counter-protesters showed up at many rallies, including Washington, Phoenix, and Boston, and carried Trump flags and shouted, "Build that wall." In Alabama, one counter-protester was taken into custody after pulling a gun in Huntsville. No shots were fired and no injuries were reported, according to police. Police say the man pulled the gun when he got into a verbal confrontation with a protester.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
After vetting the 37-year-old for factors such as looks, screen presence, and film credits, Hollywood insiders unanimously agreed this week that area man Dennis Kiernan lacks the sheer star power necessary to carry a major motion picture. Industry experts spoke to reporters today about the Charlottesville, Virginia resident, who they say just doesn't have what it takes to crack into the A-list.
Love him or hate him, I think we can all agree that Dennis Kiernan is not a bankable star. He's got to have sex appeal, talent, charisma, and most importantly, that X factor. I should want to sleep with Dennis. I should want to be Dennis. Do I want to be Dennis? No.
Experts agreed the Virginia native and father of one does not have the widespread appeal required to secure a distribution deal with wide release, while also saying they had no reason to believe Kiernan would ever be capable of delivering the type of powerhouse performance that generates buzz at Sundance, Cannes, or Comic-Con.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and yeah, we're here live on this Independence Day edition of the program. Welcome to the show. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You're always invited to call in and bring up anything that you want. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
We are, of course, broadcasting, or simulcasting, if you will, on Twitch. On our video feed, it is Topless Wednesdays. Conan, for you and I here, because it's brutally hot.
It is brutally hot. It's 90-plus degrees outside right now, and it's
evening. And it has been for the last few days.
And it's not just the heat, it's the humidity. Yeah. It's wild.
It's feeling like Florida up here right now.
and in fact, here I am complaining, but I've been listening to New Englanders complain all week.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You couldn't handle the 6-7 months of this. This is always like this in Florida.
It's like 9 months.
Yeah.
Florida.
So that's and so whenever I'm like, yeah, I don't miss Florida at all. They're like, yeah, but it's great in the winter.
It's warm down there. Yeah, right.
And you can swim. You can just go swimming whenever you feel like it. Yeah, well, in the nasty, sandy, salty ocean.
Yeah, and I never really felt like it when I lived down there. But then again, that's what happens when you're raised near the beach. You really don't care about it. Open phones as always here on Free Talk Live. It's Ian and Conan here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We got some Independence Day related news and stuff worth talking about here tonight, of course. But I got to say, once again, I've had every single person that has wished me a happy fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
There have been at least 3 of them that have sent me like a message on a text of some sort to say Happy 4th of July. Without fail, it's every single one of them. And I always text back Happy Independence Day. Because, and this is something we talk about. We touched on it last night, but we regularly discuss this on Independence Day. The sort of the meaning behind the holiday, which should be to celebrate secession. It should be to celebrate independence from, in this case, originally the King of England. That was the original concept, but the concept today is still just as valid of declaring independence from a distant power.
Except you can't say secession any longer because that's a dirty word.
Secession. I just said it 3 times.
Yeah, my boss just texted us all of her workers, Happy 4th of July, and I of course got right back on there, and I was like, Happy Overthrow Your Tyrant and Secession Day.
Yeah, I didn't go that far. I didn't want to make it political, but
well, they know who I am. Yeah. I can't shut up
hiding
at work.
That. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So,
but yeah, one of our listeners actually wrote up a nice little a document here proclaiming exactly what you were talking about. It is not about just the month, 4th of July, and go eat hot dogs and hamburgers and get silly drunk, do day drinking.
I had Indian food today.
And celebration of Independence Day?
Just because I can go spend cryptocurrency.
Because of the Indian tea tax?
Well, actually, no. There's a great little Indian restaurant here in town that actually takes cryptocurrency, and I imagine he's one of the only places open. I mean, the whole parking lot was deserted.
Oh, really? Yeah. Downtown was...
At least the Emerald Circle or whatever, the center at Keene was just completely deserted.
Interesting. You know what? I think I heard maybe 1 or 2 firecrackers last night. And I think I might have heard maybe 5 today. So I don't know what's going on.
Normally you hear them in New Hampshire.
Maybe it's the heat.
Because New Hampshire is a very firecracker-friendly
I didn't see any cars lined up at parking lot or in front of houses, people having barbecues.
I saw one as I was driving back here.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's too hot. Maybe they're just taking the all inside and sucking up some of that air conditioner.
So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. We've also got our Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. And so let's jump into this post here, Conan. Presumably he's willing to share it. He put it on Facebook.
Well, okay. You want to go ahead and read his name then? Okay,
it's
you know
up
what?
To you.
I'll keep him anonymous. If anybody in the chat room knows who this is, go ahead and give me the confirmation. I'll go ahead and read his name on air. But I think he hit it right on the head.
Let's hear it.
Musings on the truth of Independence Day 2018. Exasperated as I might be from repeating it every year, I will again. I do not celebrate the 4th of July any more than I glorify any other arbitrary date on a calendar. Some time ago, call it a conspiracy theory or what you will, any coincidental connection to Independence Day was totally removed from the routine holiday that the United States places halfway between Mother's Day and Labor Day.
Is this a conspiracy? Because it seems so suspicious, doesn't it? It's like it's almost as though this change was orchestrated. It's almost as though, because it's so common in the media, it's so common amongst people. Is it a chicken before the egg thing? Was this just something that happened over time, or was there somebody who specifically said, you know what, let's start talking about this holiday as the 4th of July, get people to forget about independence?
When you consider the beginnings of the Pledge of Allegiance, which is a conspiracy, and
it's a socialist plot.
It's a socialist Christian flag maker.
Yep, that's
flag
right.
seller, salesman.
Francis Bellamy.
And he definitely had an agenda. He was actually trying to, and that's why he started with the Boy Scouts.
He was trying to sell flags, number one, but also was trying to inculcate people with the belief in the states.
And this was right after the Civil War, and everyone was had harsh feelings for the federal government, and of course, he was a lover of the government. And so he wanted to push his agenda. I have no doubt that someone out there was sitting down in a room, a smoke-filled, cigar-smoked room, and they're like, you know what, we've got to do something about this riffraff.
Sure.
We don't want secession. That's a dirty, dirty word. We'll link it up with slavery. It doesn't have anything to do with taxes and tariffs and whatnot. It was all slavery. But yeah, the same with the 4th of July. It's like, yeah, we don't want anyone talking about, overthrowing us because they depend on us, right?
Right. You don't want them getting ideas, trying to repeat the past or something like that.
So I have no doubt. But if anyone has that, more specifics on that, I'd call in and tell us, because I'm not sure. I bet if Dara was here, he'd be like, yeah, I know this and that.
Well, Daryl would say, it's not a conspiracy. And I don't know, man. I think it could very well be. It could very well be.
Continuing on.
Yeah.
As a personal social experiment, I listen to various television and radio stations as a background noise throughout my workday on both Monday and Tuesday. Conservative, liberal, news talk, music, sports, talking heads, DJs, commercials. It mattered not. I heard a plethora of discussions and jingles about the 4th of July.
I bet it was 100%.
But not one damn mention of Independence Day.
Yep.
And I heard the same thing except from one guy here in Keene.
Who?
John DiBernardo.
Okay.
He is our local patriot. He's not a 100% Trumper, and he's not 100% build the wall, but he definitely leans to
conservative
in
type.
that camp.
Yeah.
But he did mention Independence Day quite a number of times, and even the founders and what they were after, and he of course he was playing battle anthem music, the marching music.
Right.
Every bumper was marching band music.
Sure, very patriotic.
The 4th of July is a lazy, hedonistic celebration of populism, nationalism, making sure your papers are in order, and waving Chinese-made American flags.
That reminds me, I heard a great story, and I'm sorry I don't remember who to credit this to. It just happened within the last few days. That Walmart apparently got busted at some point for Made in USA.
And it was really China?
And it was really a town in China named USA.
Wait, why would Walmart get busted? Why wouldn't it be on the Chinese head being
I guess it was a Walmart product.
False advertising.
I think it was a Walmart product or something like that. I don't know. I don't know all the details on that. I don't know if it's even a true story, but it sure is funny if it's true.
USA/Walmart/China. Independence Day is a recognition of secession, fleeing tyranny, and I would say fighting tyranny, and telling kings what they can do with their edicts and orders. But they don't want you to contemplate seceding or being independent. They most definitely want you to be dependent on the behemoth of the federal government and to think that you are inseparable from its infinite control.
Let's talk more about it. Coming up here in moments, his remainder of whatever he's got to say about his frustrations. And I share them, and it sounds like you share them as well, Conan. With the absolute dearth of people calling this holiday what it's supposed to be called, Independence Day. And I'm not somebody who gets all, upset about holidays for the most part. I really couldn't care much about them. But this one, this kind of bugs me. 855-450, free like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys. plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important, don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're here. We'll take your calls about whatever you want. That's right, even though it's Independence Day, we're here, and we are live. And the we is Ian.
And Conan.
Also, the show is brought to you by Bitcoin.com, who wants you to know that Bitcoin Cash is now accepted as a main cryptocurrency on SaveItPurse.com. We've talked a lot about SaveItPurse.com over the years. It's a way that you can spend your Bitcoin and get huge discounts. No joke. Huge, like 20, 30%. You decide, you pick the discount. The higher the discount you choose, the longer it might take to fulfill your order. But I find that 20% usually gets snatched up within minutes, if not hours, certainly within the first day of when you put your order up. And it used to just be BTC only. Now you can use Bitcoin Cash over at SaveItPurse.com. That's SaveAtPurse.com. So if you've been tired of BTC with its high fees and its tendency towards bogging down, you ought to check out Bitcoin Cash now at SaveItPurse.com. SaveAtPurse.com. As we continue here, Conan, you're sharing with us a kind of a little opinion post that was made by a listener. It's a Free Talk Live amplifier over on the AMP Only forum on Facebook about his frustration or her frustration with the people around them on the media and in real life referring to this holiday as the 4th of July.
And not what it truly is, and that is probably the greatest holiday that we can celebrate, and that is independence, freedom.
It's an important concept.
Sovereignty.
Right.
This is, it's what the country was basically founded on, built on, and no one really remembers or cares. In fact, when everyone and their sisters, brothers talking about dismantling the Constitution, which, whatever your opinion of it, it does protect us a little bit.
Barely. I'd rather have a provision of free speech than not.
But there are too many individuals out there who are ready to throw it out the window and either write a new one or put some new socialist in charge, and it's scary. It's scary times we live in.
Secession is an idea whose time has come again. It's time for people to start talking about peaceful secession and doing it without violence, if we can avoid it, because that was the problem last time.
Yeah, it usually doesn't end up like that. And even if you move to a new location, then you got to do battle with the old residents, the old natives, who don't want your crazy ways influencing their community and their children.
I still want to see a poll done at some point, a scientific poll done in New Hampshire on secession. I want to hear what New Hampshire Granite Staters, natives specifically, not the people who moved here from Massachusetts, but what the native Granite Staters think about secession, because my experience has been that they're pretty positive towards it.
Well, it's a very libertarian state that we live in.
It is. It's in a very independent state.
And when you consider some of the southern states, when you consider the money that New Hampshire puts into the federal government and the money that they get back, it really doesn't seem like a very good deal when you shake it all out.
No doubt. And wasn't New Hampshire, I believe the New Hampshire Foundation for New Hampshire Independence, which is a sort of a think tank action group here in New Hampshire that advocates for independence for New Hampshire, specifically seceding from the United States. I believe they said that New Hampshire was the first state to leave from the UK, basically, to try to break away.
Interesting.
That it was the first state to do that. So it should be the first state again.
Well, I mean, first in, first out.
Yeah.
So this FTL amplifier goes on. What do you know about history or your civic rights? Not the watered down garbage that is funded by the theft of taxpayers and taught in the parasitic indoctrination camps, aka public schools, but real history or rights. What do you know about the 6th, 7th, 8th amendments to the U.S. Constitution? How about sovereignty robbing 17th Amendment? How about jury nullification? How about the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor a reserve? The Council of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations, the Boston Massacre, or the Stamp Act resistance. So do you celebrate the 4th of July? Don't insult my intelligence. Use your brain. Be educated and informed. Embrace liberty. Happy Independence Day to you. God bless the Republic and the death to the New World Order. Which is my favorite part, by the way.
Right. I'm not so enamored with the Republic necessarily, but I do agree with the idea of, hey, don't forget about independence. It's an important concept. It's something that people should be ruminating on. They should be thinking about on this particular holiday, and specifically reflecting on how you can be more independent in your life. Are you dependent on the state for things? Are you dependent on others for things? Is there a way? I mean, we're all dependent on each other, right? Because we have division of labor. There are some things that I can do that other people can't do, and
some more than others.
Right.
I try to cancel out the middleman as often as possible. I do almost all my own stuff. And a lot of people don't. When I talk about frugality and talking about lowering taxes and getting away from the entitlement system, people look at me like I'm crazy. But it just comes natural to me to want to investigate where the money is actually going and what it's being spent on, because it does bother me. I like to save money.
Sure, but when it comes to independence, we can only be so independent in a society, right? Like you can go and break away and become a man in the woods and do everything yourself and live off the land, and you can do that still. I think there are places where you can go to do that kind of thing, but for the most part, we all have roles that we want to fulfill that don't allow us to have the time to do everything.
And that's that's
okay.
I find that is the biggest issue when you talk about secession. If it's not the slavery aspect of it, it is, you want to build walls around New Hampshire, and you want to keep all Vermonties and Massachusetts massholes and Mainies out,
Maniacs.
and not do mayonnaise
maniacs,
and not have interactions or trade or
absolutely not. I want to have interactions and
communication with everyone around you. It's like no, that's ridiculous.
No. People have to have people. I mean, it's just, unless you're a certain type of person who is completely antisocial, people need people. I mean, that's just a fact. The difference between being dependent on others for, let's say, providing you food or what I know you do raise your own chickens and things like that.
Chickens and rabbits and gardening and the whole nine.
Right. But, you're probably still going to the grocery store from time to time.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't make. I don't make my own sugar.
You don't have time to make your own cheese,
Yeah, I mean, but I like to know how to do all that stuff. Right. So just in case it hits the fan and I'm like,
But even if it does hit the fan, there's still stuff you're going to be trading for.
Oh, yeah.
There's still...
And I'm going to have a lot of stuff that people are probably going to want if they don't steal from me and shoot me first and take it from me.
Right, like alcohol and cigarettes.
There you go.
So, you want currency when it comes down to the S hitting the fan.
I'll skip tobacco. I'll go straight to weed cigarettes.
Yeah, that would work too. People still want that as well.
I'm not sure how well tobacco grows up here and what the season is.
Good question. Weed will grow anywhere, though.
I think it takes up a lot of space. I know that.
I've never looked into it. So the difference being dependent on others consensually and then versus dependent on a system that is designed to trap you, designed to keep you dependent. In the marketplace, when we're dependent on others, we can go to someone else if we decide we don't like the service provided by one person or one company.
If that person doesn't exist, if that entity doesn't exist,
you can create it
yourself.
Exactly. If you have a free market, which we don't, because in a lot of cases you can't create things without asking permission from that agency that wants you to be dependent on them. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So I think we're advocating for independence from those systems and the freedom to choose, rather than total independence, because that would be a very difficult thing to achieve this day and age. More coming up here on Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
If you like alkaline water, or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dillon Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dillon bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dillon bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dillon bottle today at dyln.co. That's dyln.co.
Free Talk Live.
It's obvious the government expects people to pay taxes, whether or not they have a law.
They are a band of marauders. They are a violent band of thugs, and in my opinion, they're a group of strangers. I mean, if I all of a sudden wrote up an invoice for you, Robert, and send it to your house saying, you owe Free Talk Live $5,000 this year, or if you don't pay us, we're going to send some people after you to punch your face in. Would you cut me a check? I mean, because that's essentially what they're doing. That's essentially what the IRS does. They write a bunch of strangers, people they don't know, an invoice, and they include a bunch of obscure instructions that you're supposed to understand. And then at the very bottom it says, if you don't follow these instructions to the T, we are going to charge you with a criminal offense and throw you in the clink. This is a threat. And I don't take kindly to threats. I don't know about you.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed,
LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here, bring up whatever is on your mind on this live Independence Day edition of the program. Joining you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And don't forget, we've got all kinds of ways for you to get in touch with the show. Also, you can join us online in a variety of methods. We've got a great website. The archives go back for more than a decade. There's, of course, YouTube videos and more. Just head on over to freetalklive.com, and you can enjoy the features that we have there completely free. Once again, that's freetalklive.com. And also want to invite you to liberty.menu. It's a great libertarian business directory. If you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you qualify to use liberty.menu. Whatever it is that you do, whatever your entrepreneurial activities happen to be, you can list it for free over at liberty.menu. That's right, it's free. You don't have to spend any money. If you want to, there's some upgrades that you can do to the listings. But you can have more than one listing, and it's free for more than one of them. So head on over to liberty.menu. Also, if you're a digital content creator, or maybe you're an events coordinator, as long as you're a liberty-minded person, you qualify to use liberty.menu. So head on over there if you want. You can use our code FTL, and you get a special Free Talk Live listener badge at liberty.menu. As we continue here, Conan, you were sharing with us a kind of an opinion piece written by...
It was a bit of a diatribe.
Yeah, one of our listeners.
By the way, and I did get permission to read his name out loud. That's Dale Gillespie. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your
Kudos,
your courage.
Dale. Kudos.
And enjoyed it very much.
He's frustrated, rightfully so, by the fact that seems like everybody in his life, on the radio, on television, on the internet, his friends, his family members,
have gotten
coworkers,
it all wrong.
They're all calling it the 4th of July. And I see it too. 100% of everybody who's wished me a happy blank today has been happy 4th of July.
Yep. Happy hamburger and hot dog and day drinking day.
So we're done with his comments, though, right? We finished.
Oh yeah, it's done. I did want to. So we were talking about the entitlement society that we live in, and the idea of secession and why people they're not really on board.
Well, the idea of independence.
And you were talking about and it's scary to a lot of people, the independence, because then who is going to take care of them? And so our masters have figured it out. They've had almost 300 years, 240 years. To figure it out that you take a little bit from your sheep, from your cattle, and you give them back things that they could take care of on their own,
right? Health
care and housing and clothing and food and all that, but you give it back in such a way that they become completely dependent on you,
right?
And then when some crazy guy without his shirt on Topless Wednesday says, "Hey, wouldn't it be great to secede from this federal government, to divorce this abusive relationship?" And they're like, but who's going to take care of me? Who's going to provide all these things that have been provided for me for so many years, my whole life? What am I going to do without my baby daddy?
You can see it on even a small level. I remember moving here years ago, almost 12 years ago now, moving to New Hampshire from Florida, and being surprised when I found out that the trash does not get picked up by the government here in Keene.
Our landfill is subsidized.
The landfill is a government-run landfill.
But pickup. But you do pay. Pickup is paid for, and if you take your trash to our landfill, you pay per bag.
Correct. But if you want somebody to pick up your garbage, like is what happened to me in Florida, where some truck comes around and picks up garbage, Here there are private companies that offer that service. There is no government version of that.
But don't say that too loud, because I know some city councilors who would be...
They want to change that?
They probably... Well, to get them votes.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, anyway, my point is...
I mean, they do collect our leaves.
That's true.
I am crazy aggravated by that.
Really?
Especially when you consider that it goes up 20,000 every year.
The price of the leaf collection?
Yeah, last year was 80,000. 80,000 for the entire city. It's up to 100,000. I have no doubt it's going to be 150,000, 120,000 this year,
right.
just to suck up the stupid leaves. Which, by the way, I don't do at all. I don't rake my leaves out to the curb. I just mow my lawn one last time, mulch them.
Just mulch it.
You get good leaf fertilizer all over your yard.
There you go.
And I don't have to rely on some public works guy to come suck up leaves that he shouldn't have to. But that's just one little tiny thing that they do that is not necessary. And every year they just keep
people may indeed pay for that service on their own volition. Like, you may not use it, but other people may want to use it.
If you want to pay some dude $50 to $100 to take all your leaves away, hey, that's all. Go ahead, man.
Whatever. But my point was, it was a surprise. Like, my God, there's a place where you don't have the government picking up your garbage, and some people can't even believe that that's a possibility, because they've been so used to having the government do it for their whole lives. They just never even thought that could be something that the government didn't do.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of like a little microcosmic example of this idea that people are acclimated to being taken care of by the government, and they don't know how to think outside of the box because they're so used to this.
Yep. And they'll continue down that road until the money runs out. And that's where we're going. That's where
the money ain't going to run out. They can print it. Look at Venezuela.
They can only print so much, and before you know it, you're taking your wheelbarrow full of cash bills, Federal Reserve notes, down to the bread store to buy bread. And
Conan,
it's only going to work so long.
It can't happen here.
It's on its way out.
It can't happen here, Conan.
Oh, yeah, it can. It's called history, and history repeats itself.
But, Conan, we have the best central bankers in the whole world, and they're going to keep it all together.
They know exactly what they're doing.
By the way, Venezuela right now, $1 will currently buy you on the black market 3.5 million bolivar. It continues to just fall down the absolute S-hole of history here, and it's the most ridiculous hyperinflationary situation on the planet right now, and there really isn't any reason why it can't happen here. It hasn't happened here. They do have some tricks up their sleeve. Even Venezuela is going to try to pull out a completely new currency here in, I think, this month, actually. So that's not going to work, because it's to the point where the people in Venezuela are not being fooled anymore, I suspect. So I don't think that any of their tricks in Venezuela are going to, put this Humpty Dumpty back together again, so to speak. Let's go to Dale. He's in Louisville, Kentucky. I suspect this is the same Dale that wrote that article. Hello, Dale.
Greetings, gentlemen. I appreciate you all reading my piece on the air. It's good to be on with Captain FTL himself, Ian Freeman, and the gentleman I call Conan the non-aggressive barbarian. How are you guys?
All right.
Yeah, Conan the libertarian.
That's nice of you.
Thank you.
Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, I just kind of extending on what I was saying. One reason I mentioned the 17th Amendment in my piece that you guys read, because that was a really bad one. Everybody thinks, if they were amending the Constitution, these old white guys back then, they must know what they were doing. Well, that was much later, and the problem was the 17th Amendment upset the balances of power between the federal government and the state, because as you know, in a small state like New Hampshire, you already got 2 U.S. senators, so when they messed that up, it really changed the value and devalued the House of Representatives. But I don't know, I just wanted to get your guys' thought about that.
So what is the 17th Amendment? Is that where they changed the makeup of the
direct election of the U.S. senators rather than going to the state legislatures?
Oh, and being appointed by the state legislature. I don't know, Conan, do you have a strong feeling on that?
I was confused. I thought the 16th is the income tax.
Yeah.
All right. I was confused. I thought that's what it was. I'm not familiar with the 17th myself.
Well, the 16th, of course, was never formally ratified. We won't get into that conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
the 17th is where they.
But they say it's legal.
Right.
They say the income tax is legal.
Well, they say the IRS is legal too, and we know why do we pay it? We don't pay it because we owe it. We pay it because we don't want them to put us in a little cage.
Well, they sure did put Irwin Schiff in a little cage, and he didn't believe in the 16th Amendment either.
He died there, a political prisoner.
He sure did, in his 80s. Just a horrifying story. Regarding the 17th Amendment and the direct election of senators, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to hear your argument, Dale, because it doesn't seem to me to be real strong one way or the other. I think either way you're going to get power seekers out of the job, whether it's the state legislature who's appointing this person, or whether it's the voters themselves who are voting the person in. Either way, you're still going to see bad people getting into those positions. So I don't think it would have made a hill of beans a difference, but I'd love to hear you weigh in if you want to comment. We'll bring you back for that. Stand by. More with Dale in Kentucky. And yes, it is that easy to call in. And yes, we are here live on this Independence Day edition of Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Bring up what you want. It's Free Talk Live.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. It's already been an extraordinary year for the Innocence Project and their clients. They've already freed more innocent people in the past 12 months than in any year in the history of the Innocence Project, and they're gearing up to do even more. The attorneys and paralegals for the Innocence Project are dedicated to doing whatever it takes to set an innocent person free. To support them, a new cohort of law students have recently joined and are excited to help with more than 200 cases of clients seeking to prove their innocence. 9 clients have been exonerated and reunited with their families in 2018 already, and your support now will help build on the incredible momentum of exonerations. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Hello, this is Dr. Bill Deagle, MD of NutriMedical.com, announcing the breakthrough Red Deer Velvet DR. It delivers the protected building blocks of all organs and tissues, allowing your own stem cells as architects and engineers to regenerate you. Not since fetal life, when aging does not occur, has such an amazing NutriMed been available to help heal you and regenerate you. Anti-aging requires that you correct mineral, activated nutraceutical, and jump the gene defects and poor diet you have to deliver the cellular tools for regeneration. You must remove old damaged cells and replace them with your young healthy cells to wind the biological clock to a younger you. Order your Red Deer Velvet DR now at NutriMedical.com 24/7 or 888-212-8871. That's NutriMedical, N-U-T-R-I, Medical, MEDICAL.com, or call our order line 888-212-8871.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. It is the live Independence Day edition of the show. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
Conan, you been doing some day drinking today?
I always day drink. No, I don't. I sip. I've been sipping.
Yeah? Okay. I have not, but then again, I don't really feel like I should drink before the show. It's probably not a good.
Yeah, but you have other types of escape that I don't partake in.
Escape? What are you talking about?
Everyone has their vices.
All right, so we've got open phones. You can dial in here. You can bring up whatever you want. It is Independence Day, and we're here live. By the way, if you want to, that post that you read was from the AMP Only Facebook group, which is one of the reasons why I stayed on Facebook as long as I did. I finally quit earlier this year, and it's been great for my productivity. But it's still a pretty good group, as you heard. I mean, that comment from Dale was in there.
I mean, sometimes we get stories from that group. You know, sometimes when something goes wrong with the show, we always hear through the amplifiers first. It's, hey, show didn't load up, where something or someone said something stupid and they got it completely wrong, completely ass backwards, and you need to rectify. You need to fix what you said.
Well, I'll frequently hear about it through the Discord chat these days, personally, but yeah, people do post on the AMP group, and there's a few hundred, maybe even several hundred, I think like 400 people that are in there, which means about half of them are actually former amplifiers who aren't currently amping the show. But as I've pointed out before, I consider a person an amplifier forever. Like if you've ponied up some money to help us at some point, that puts you in a special category, even if you only made it for a few months or whatever before something bad happened in your life and you had to cancel or whatever. So I always, it's always been my policy that the AMP programs run on the honor program. And, if you want to keep enjoying the benefits for free, you can do that. But ultimately, if we don't have support currently, and by the way, the AMP contributions over time have been going down in the last several years. So if we don't have support, there's not as much that we can do. So if you want to reamp the show, we sure would appreciate it. In fact, most of our amplifiers these days are former amplifiers who come back. It's actually very rare that we'll get brand new people who've never amped the show before. Just the way it is. So if you want to help us out, it's $5 a month. You get access to that AMP Only Facebook group. You'll get access to the AMP Only Discord chat rooms and more. There's some really cool perks that you'll get for helping us out, and that $5 a month is money that we can invest into Free Talk Live so we can get on more great radio stations and we can bring new internet listeners on board. We'd love to be able to advertise on the Penn Jillette show. It's called Penn Sunday School. He's been doing it for many years now, and it's just out of our budget. I mean, we just can't afford it. We need to raise another $1,000 a month, and that would just buy us one show.
Wow.
So if you want to help us, then please go to amp.freetalklive.com. If you like what we do here, if you like the fact that we're on 7 days a week, even through the holidays, bringing you the ideas of liberty and peace and cryptocurrency, then there's no better way for you to help Free Talk Live than amping the show at amp.freetalklive.com. You can use credit card, you can use PayPal, you can use BTC. As we go back to Dale, he is in that AMP group, and he's the guy who wrote up that piece. Dale, you were sharing with us your opinions, or you were about to share your opinions on the 17th Amendment, the one that made it so that senators were no longer appointed by state representatives or houses of representatives in the states, but instead direct elected.
It also increased their terms as well.
Oh, is that right?
I think from 2 years to 6 years. Is that right?
I'm not familiar with the term change, but we definitely should nix it. I'll say quickly to piggyback on what Ian just said, you definitely need to amp the program. I'm getting ready to re-up myself. I'm an old amper from way back, and probably the only two reasons I stay on what I call CIA Facebook, aka Facebook, is for the AMP group and a group that I run here called Louisville for Liberty. We also have 300 to 400 people. But yeah, I'm getting ready to re-up. I think everybody should amp the program.
Well,
but yeah, on the repeal of the 17th, the problem is, I think you and Conan and I would all agree that local government is better than state government, is better than federal government. If you repeal the 17th, it gives more power back to the states. And the reason is because now you have state legislatures who are going to have some say in the way the representation happens in D.C. This came about, that amendment did in the late 1800s. I think it was finally 1913 when it was ratified, so 105 years ago, because you had all these quote-unquote progressives. We said, we got to have direct democracy. And you see these groups running around from time to time now talk about direct democracy, but the Constitution created a system of checks and balances between the federal, state, and local. So the system is fundamentally based on balancing self-interest. States are interested in maintaining as much power over health and safety and welfare as possible. They want to get federal intrusion down in those areas, and this will keep them involved and not make it all about the big money.
So you're saying that if the state government were to be appointing, the state representatives were to appoint their U.S. senators, that you believe that those senators would be more likely to support the state independence, the state being more independent from the federal government, because they would be accountable to the state representatives rather than to the people. Is that your argument?
I think it's more likely. No, I agree. Yeah, right now it is a mob mentality. I think it's more likely because you guys know in New Hampshire how difficult it is to talk to a Sununu or somebody who's in D.C. and the district criminals representative. But I've heard you and Mark talk a lot, Ian, about how easy it is to talk to your state representatives, and the current arrangement favors whatever state can hire the most lobbyists.
Or whatever candidate, or...
Yeah, because repealing it would also increase voter interest in state elections. Average Americans pay a lot more attention to federal elections. It's just like when they all get into the Super Bowl, that even though they don't follow football, it would usher in a new era of local involvement in civics. So no, state legislative elections is not going to make it all perfect, but the voters still need to consider the way their state senators would govern on local matters.
Now, should the U.S. representatives also go ahead and be state representative appointed?
No, because that's the balance of power. If the states had lawmaking representatives in Washington, maybe, just maybe, the federal laws will begin to exhibit a more measured tone. I know that's laughable to some out there who maybe are more minarchist than libertarian, but legislatively elected senators would balance it out and will allow the states more room to act on behalf of the people.
Is there any kind of movement that you know of to repeal the 17th Amendment?
Nothing that's like on blue fire or anything right now, hot in the national media. It's you have starting the critics who say that you don't want to do that because we shouldn't allow the legislators to you're taking away the people's right to choose. So I think the reason it hasn't gained more momentum is because people are so concerned about direct democracy, but we all know about what happens when two wolves and a sheep have a democracy together. So,
yeah, if you listen to how crazy people are about their democracy and about how Hillary got the votes and we need to change the system, I think trying to repeal this or change this in any way, people wouldn't have any part of it. It's like they want to be able to pick their senators, even if they don't know who the name of their senator, who they voted for last year. I think that they want to be able to vote on it and not have some legislator they might not know make the decision on their behalf.
And Conan, if you go back, you're right. And Conan, if you go back to the framers of the Constitution and do some research, one of the issues they were most unanimous about, it was almost 10-1, was having the legislature choose the federal representative, because these scaremongers about, we got a direct democracy. Number one, Americans never had a quote-unquote right to directly elect senators. They do have a right to elect representatives. That was always there, and they still would, even if the 17th Amendment was repealed tomorrow.
It's an interesting argument, Dale. I got to say it's fairly persuasive. I think I might be able to buy the idea that if the U.S. senators were beholden to the state representatives, perhaps they would be more likely to support things like states' rights, and which, of course, we all know states don't have rights, but the concept being that the states should have their own level of independence from the federal government, and maybe you would get a little bit more of that. But either way, it still does seem like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic to some extent, because ultimately you are still going to see power mongers attracted to that position.
Yeah, and 7 of our representatives here in Keene, I didn't vote for any of them, and I wouldn't. So
7 out of 7.
Yeah, 7 out of 7. So these yahoos are going to be choosing my senator. See, it wouldn't have worked in my favor anyway.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Hey, Dale, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate the discussion here on Independence Day. As you can join us if you would like, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So, as we were talking about there, he had posted that on our Facebook group for Free Talk Live amplifiers. And that was one of the reasons why I held on to Facebook for as long as I did, was because, my listeners are in there. I need to be there for be there in that group. It was a good group. It is still a good group. And I I just eventually decided, you know what, screw it. I'm done with this. And
now you got Discord.
And now we do have Discord. That is something we started. It's not the same thing. It's not like a message forum, but then again, Facebook was a crappy message forum anyways. Its search function is broken, and it's not organized in any way, shape, or form beyond whatever the latest posts were.
It's just pictures of whatever you think is interesting for that day, and it gets confusing. You get lost. I like Discord where you can search back if somebody.
Discord does have a good search function. Yep, unlike Facebook. But it doesn't have topics like, say, the Free Talk Live forum does. So if you wanted, which, by the way, the Free Talk Live forum doesn't get near the traffic, I don't think, even of the Facebook group. But it's there, and people can use it, and some people do use it. It's where I post all my show prep.
I'm actually surprised that they haven't, considering that this is a gamer platform.
Correct. Discord.
Where in some of the guilds that I'm in, we have Discord, and someone will write up guides. And it's not just people chatting back and forth. There's actually a guide on how to kill such so-and-so boss.
No kidding.
And if there was
was it like pinned in there or something?
What? Not really. That's the problem. There's no easy way to pin it.
Oh, it's like on a list of files.
So if it was more like a forum where you can go back,
that's why we have
find something that's sticky.
Forum.freetalklive.com. We'll continue coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves here. It's Free Talk Live Independence Day edition.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Libertarian National Convention in New Orleans, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 1st, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,253 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $18, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,566. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military has formally ended a 70-year presence in the South Korean capital of Seoul on Friday with the opening of a new military headquarters further south in the city of Pyeongtaek. The U.S. had forces in Seoul since shortly after World War II. The new base is further south and therefore out of range of North Korean artillery. The relocation has been planned for some time, though the priority is clearly lessened with North Korea in talks to relocate its artillery and peace talks underway. Still, U.S. military brass are presenting citing the new base as proof of a long-term commitment to South Korea, a commitment that may not have any practical justification if the peace process is completed. The base costs $10.8 billion, and U.S. officials are emphasizing that the South Koreans paid 90% of that. Pyeongtaek is a port city on the western coast of South Korea. The new base, Camp Humphreys, is intended to accommodate 43,000 people by the end of 2022. South Korean officials have said that they are keen to keep a large U.S. military presence in their country, largely believing it is an economic boom for the host city.
Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
UPI reports hundreds of marchers across the United States on Saturday drew thousands of protesters demanding the Trump administration reunite families separated at the U.S.-Mexico border. In cities from New York to Los Angeles and conservative strongholds across the Deep South, Families Belong Together rallies drew people from both sides of the issue to more than 700 marches scheduled throughout the country. Political and public outcry against the Trump administration's policies of separating parents from children upon arrest prompted the president to sign an executive order last week saying parents and children would be kept together in detention. Administration officials have offered different explanations for how the policy would be implemented and how and when all approximately 2,300 children would be reunited with parents. Sunday's events were a call to President Trump to reunite the families immediately, cease family detention, and reverse the administration's zero-tolerance border crossing policy, according to organizers. A statement from Families Belong Together obtained by NBC News said parents should not be criminally prosecuted for doing what all parents do, which is to bring their children to safety. This horrible nightmare for families will end only when the Trump administration permanently stops his 100% prosecution policy. In New York City, about 30,000 people showed up for a march across the Brooklyn Bridge, chanting, "Immigrants built this bridge." Sweltering heat did not deter thousands gathered at the White House for one of the day's largest protests, which included many wearing white for the cause and carrying signs that read, "What's next? Concentration camps," and "I care. Do you?" in reference to a jacket First Lady Melania Trump recently wore on a trip to visit child migrants. Civil rights icon John Lewis of Georgia joined demonstrators in Atlanta and drew parallels between Saturday's protest and the anti-segregation rallies in the 1960s. Lewis said, "As a nation and a people, we can do better. Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep marching." During the rallies, the president tweeted about the current immigration laws, saying, "When people come into our country illegally, we must immediately escort them back without going through years of legal maneuvering. Our laws are the dumbest anywhere in the world. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Dems want open borders and are weak on crime." Counter-protesters showed up at many rallies, including Washington, Phoenix, and Boston, and carried Trump flags and shouted, "Build that wall." In Alabama, one counter-protester was taken into custody after pulling a gun in Huntsville. No shots were fired and no injuries were reported, according to police. Police say the man pulled the gun when he got into a verbal confrontation with a protester.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Readers rejoice! This week, Amazon unveiled the Kindle Flair, the latest model of their popular e-reader. The improved device has the ability to loudly and repeatedly announce the title of the book you're reading so everyone knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the flare provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the flare automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
It is Independence Day. We're here live, which means you can, of course, call in to bring up whatever you want, as you always can here on Free Talk Live. Coming up at some point, Conan, you have another Independence Day related story about a mysterious comma period controversy within the Declaration of Independence. But since we were talking about Facebook, I've had a piece in my show prep here for a little bit, and I've not yet gotten to it. It's not exactly breaking news or anything like that, but we had a really interesting opinion that was written on the Free Talk Live Facebook group. There's a Free Talk Live AMP-only Facebook group, and you found a piece there from one of our listeners, Dale, and you read that on the air, and it was his frustration with people calling today the 4th of July, which isn't inaccurate, but it's supposed to be Independence Day. And
well, it is Independence Day, but it is mistakenly confused with hot dog and beer day.
Is it in how many people's minds is it still Independence Day? Because it seems like not very many of them.
No, I mean I saw some silly maybe it was one of the night shows. They were doing the on the street questionnaires, and they were asking the folks, who did we claim our independence from?
Oh no.
And about a third of the respondents knew that it was Great Britain.
Wow.
And everyone else they probably can tell you who won the Dancing with the Stars episode last night, or
what were some of their answers? Did they have an answer, or there's
a lot of them just clueless?
Yeah.
Canada, Mexico.
Wow.
Who knows?
So this story from PJ Media, the author Phil Baker, headline: Facebook will harass you mercilessly if you try to break up. Breaking up with Facebook is apparently as difficult as breaking up with a bad boyfriend or girlfriend who won't accept your decision. That's the experience that Henry Grabber of Slate had when he stopped signing on. He stopped logging in on June 6th and stayed off Facebook for 10 days.
Is this year?
This was published in June 19th of this year. He stayed off Facebook for 10 days. He had been a member for over 10 years, and this was the longest period that he had remained off of the social network. But Facebook didn't leave him alone. He received 17 email messages in a span of 9 days urging him to return. Graeber is not alone in trying to wean himself off of Facebook for various reasons. Some do it because they realize it can be a waste of time, while others do it because of the company's inability to protect or lack of interest in protecting its members' personal data.
Yeah, how many people are really worried about that? I'm not buying that whole meme that Facebook is stealing your identity and they're selling your information to the company. No one really cares. That was what?
Yeah, if you didn't know that when you were signing up for it.
I mean,
here's the hint: if a company lets you use their service for free, there's a good chance you're the customer. You're the the advertising.
Yeah, nothing in this world is free, people. In that case, you're
the product.
You're
That's
the product.
What I was looking for. Yeah, you're the product. So let's see here. The company has mistakenly released data of nearly 100 million of its members and friends of members to third parties, and many of them have used the data for illicit purposes. While Facebook says they're not losing members, some recent statistics paint a different story. According to a Pew study, only 51% of U.S. teenagers use the service now, down from 71%.
Yeah, they're all on Snapchat.
Is that what they're using now? In 2015.
And Twitter and stuff like that.
This was the first time the numbers have fallen. Graeber found the messages that he received from Facebook actually reinforced his decision to stay off the platform. On one day, he received 2 emails telling him a distant friend had posted a new photo. On another day, he received a message telling him that 88 people liked a post in a group that he belonged to, and on another day, he received an email telling him there was a post to his college alumni group. A few days later, he was notified in an email that a few dozen members of a group he belonged to had commented about a news article. The email notices followed along these lines and included more messages about Facebook friends adding new photos or commenting on other posts, and even emailing him reminders to, quote, see what people are talking about in your group, unquote. He then received an email in the middle of the night asking, you up? How about a little late-night content from a guy on your soccer team who's the little brother of your colleague's boyfriend?
This sounds like Hal from 2001.
The following day, there was an email saying, 5 people like a post in your group, and then another 603 people like a photo in your group. It continued much like this over the 10 days that he was off of Facebook.
So now, my question is, did he actually deactivate his account? Or did he just stop using it?
I think he just stopped using it.
Okay, well, that's part of the problem right there. There's a lot of notifications you can turn off.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, most everything I follow on Facebook is off. If I don't specifically want to go look at a site or a group, I don't find out what's going on until I go to it.
Email. I turned off email notifications a long time ago for Facebook, but I have gotten some of their ping emails.
So how long have you been off?
6 or 7 months now.
And they still send you little, hey, are you still alive? Ian?
I don't remember how frequently, but I've definitely gotten some emails from Facebook to give me a heads up on something that they think I'm going to be interested in.
Right.
It's like they know I'm not there regularly, and so they want me to come back. So, and I do log in usually once a month nowadays, it seems like, just in case we get a new Free Talk Live amplifier.
So your account is not deactivated.
That's correct.
You are just not signed in.
I am not using it. I have full willpower and control over Facebook. I have defeated Facebook's addictive capacity.
Now, I have noticed something in the last couple of months, maybe the last 3 months, where I'm getting notifications from people I know that I'm not really having any interaction in, and I'm not following them. I don't have notifications on this person turned on, and Facebook will just decide, hey, so-and-so said this.
You should come look at it.
You should come look at it.
Right.
And it's like, what does that have to do with anything? And the only thing I can think of, and I've had 3 months to look at this. It only happens maybe once a week or so. Is that what I found is that these are people that I might have visited their page and looked at something that they had been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not interacted with them, maybe not had a conversation with them, but it just looked at their page. And then for some reason, a week, 2 weeks later, Facebook just decides, hey, so-and-so said this. Do you want to look at it?
Let's go to the phones here. We got Matthew on the line. He's in Louisiana. Matthew, you're watching us on YouTube tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I always say Happy Independence Day. I
Excellent.
Don't say Happy 4th. It's just the way I am. I like to say Happy Christmas, not Merry Xmas or anything like that. But it doesn't bother me if somebody says Happy 4th. And, some people just don't think about these sort of things very deeply or don't know that much. So I had a modest proposal for the legalization of drugs.
Okay.
And I floated this by my conservative friends on WGSO. And kind of received mixed reviews. And it's basically, it's going to involve the government, so y'all aren't going to be crazy about it. I understand.
Right. Nope.
Totally.
Let's hear it.
I'm talking about, let's form a GSE. You know what a GSE is?
No.
Okay, it's a government-sponsored enterprise.
So like the post office?
Yeah, but the post office really is a government-subsidized enterprise.
What's the difference?
Government-sponsored enterprise. Well, government-sponsored enterprise says that the government says this would be a useful thing, but we don't want to manage it.
But they want to spend the money to create it?
They want to regulate it, and they want the taxes they can get off of it.
Stand it up and turn it loose. Like the American Bureau of Shipping is one, and that's a successful one. I can show you a failure, and that would be, two of them. Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and the post office. That's 3, really. But this is something that I think would be a success, a moderate success, called the Addiction Control Board. And basically, every narcotic, including nicotine and alcohol has an addiction rate. It's not 100%. Even the dreaded opioids isn't 100%. I'd heard different radio talk show hosts say it was 27%, which I'm thinking, that's really not that bad.
Well, stand by, because I want to hear exactly what your proposal is for this addiction control board. So stick with us here. Matthew will return, hopefully. And our toll-free number for you to join us, 855-450-FREE, like Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live here on Independence Day.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. Join us on the radio here. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450, free like freedom. The live Independence Day edition of the program. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
Check out the Blink Home Security System over at blinkprotect.com/FTL. You'll get 15% off what is already a shockingly affordable and effective home security system that is pretty great. I've actually had the opportunity to install it here at the studio, and by install, I mean like unbox it, put the batteries in, and then put the camera up. You don't have to actually run any wiring because the cameras are wireless, and it's super easy to do. You set everything up via your Wi-Fi-enabled device of your choice. You got a tablet or a smartphone or whatever, and then you configure the cameras, and whenever they operate, whenever something walks in front of it or moves in front of it, it will send you a clip to whatever device you're using, wherever you happen to be. Very, very handy, very easy to use, super easy to install. Blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL. As we continue, Matthew is on the line with us here. And Matthew, you had a proposal for some sort of a form of drug legalization that involves an organization that you describe as the Addiction Control Board, which you said would be a government-sponsored enterprise. Tell me more about this idea.
Okay, so it would have the power to levy a excise tax on the product that's manufactured at the manufacturer level. Obviously, some substances you're just not going to catch at all, like marijuana, which you could grow in your backyard, or people who distill their own alcohol or grow their own tobacco. But by and large, most of the big players would want to play along with it, and the excise tax would be used for one thing and one thing only, and that is to treat the people who become addicted, who say, "Oh no, this has gone too far, I want out."
Well, why do you need the government for that?
Get me out of them. Well, you could do this theoretically, all private enterprises, consortium of, let's say, narcotics and things that get you habituated people. But the government kind of set the tone, per se, saying, we think this is a good thing to do. Y'all take care of it.
Yeah, but don't they already have these special councils, addiction councils for nicotine and for alcohol and for gambling already? And they're spending billions of dollars to try to cure alcohol addiction. And just how well is that working? It doesn't seem like it is working. And do you think? Do you think that this is going to
moderately well? It depends on how much the person who it depends on how much the person who wants to be cured.
Yeah, and I think that is the problem. You can't forcefully cure anybody of anything. It has to be their own decision, and that's why Alcohol Anonymous, which is a private organization, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how much. I don't think they get any money from subsidized from the government. But I mean,
no, they're all private. They survive completely by private donation.
Well, I mean, why couldn't you have the same thing for weed or for opium or for any other type of heavy drug? Why couldn't you do the same thing?
I really believe you could, but like I said, this is a proposal to satisfy the public perception that, you're going to do something. It would set up an organization that would basically look for the most effective methods of dealing with these addictions. Now, the method for dealing with the opioid addiction actually involves another type of opioid. I don't know if you all have heard of this.
Kratom?
But I heard of this, a different radio show. Huh?
Kratom?
That's not an opioid. Is it an opioid?
That might be it.
It has a very similar effect.
Really?
It fills up all the opioid receptors, but you don't get a buzz. It doesn't give you a high.
I've heard kratom does give you a buzz.
I think it works differently for different people.
This is a different substance. Yeah, this is a different substance then. But it fills up the receptors, and basically you could take what would be an overdose load of any kind of opioid after you've taken this particular medication, and it would basically, you wouldn't overdose. It just wouldn't let it happen. It would have no effect.
I think you're thinking of Narcan.
Well, as far as Kratom is concerned,
you just administer afterwards.
as far as Kratom is concerned, if the DEA doesn't get its way, the DEA wants to outlaw it.
Right.
Even though it doesn't, I don't think it gets you high. And I know a lot of holistic folks out there swear by it. And but if it works and it goes against anything Big Pharma is trying to sell us, then of course they're going to try to stamp it out.
5 things you may feel during a Kratom high, according to Warrior.do. Euphoria, relaxation, sociability, pain relief, and increased energy.
Well, that's excellent. Yeah. Of course Big Pharma isn't going to want you to have any of that.
Yeah, exactly. Matthew, I want to say this. I mean, your proposal, I see what you're saying. You're proposing it in the idea of trying to persuade people that this would be a way to legalize drugs and reduce harm. And I don't think it's a bad, in the scheme of government programs, it's not the worst government program that you can think of, but it also relies on the idea that there would be only one way, or that these people would be able to ferret out the best way to help people, whereas we know that with the marketplace, that's the best way to help people, because then different methods can be tried and different people can support the different methods that they want to support, rather than having everybody having to support this one method, or in this case being taxed, these businesses being taxed, the manufacturers being taxed to support
this is just one little tax, because the legislators are going to want to tax the crap out of weed already, so this is just going to be one more tax on top of a little tax.
That's controlling. That gets down to the issue of controlling the government's insatiable desire for our money, which that's a different topic.
And this is also about control. I mean, it's right there in the name of what you proposed.
Isn't all government about control?
It sure is, which is why we need to abolish it. Thank you for the call, Matthew. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And his proposal's more realistic than anything we're making, right? Because we would say we'll just abolish the state entirely.
And then people immediately roll their eyes.
Right.
And
you can't do that.
And they walk away. They just shut up. The cognitive dissonance goes into overdrive, and they don't hear anything we say. Matthew was at least trying to win.
He's trying to pander to those people.
Yeah, but he's just opening a can of worms. It's something a new department that is just going to be abused and is going to be inefficient and is going to turn into a disaster down the road. It might work the first year, might work the first 6 months, but it will turn into a disaster down the road.
So you remind me of an article I just wrote over at freekeen.com. I'm running for New Hampshire Senate here in District 10, and I got a questionnaire. I got my first questionnaire, because when you run for political office,
our local newspaper is very good about getting this little opportunity to the folks.
I didn't get a thing from the newspaper yet, but I got one from the NEA, which is the National Education Association, and I use this as an opportunity to just kind of do a position piece on education. So I wrote up my answers to them. I scanned that in. I scanned the PDF in so anybody can see my answers. So I posted that, but then I posted some paragraphs along with it about the way education ought to be. And it ties into what we were saying here in a moment. I'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up, and why people just don't believe this stuff is possible. They've been so programmed. There's more, even if they think it's a good idea. It's Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. OneWay.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and we invite you to join us here, live Independence Day edition of the program. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
We've got Skype. You can Skype in here. Skype username is lrn.fm, or call us on the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. That's the first room, by the way, in our Discord to easily allow you to get on the air with us and talk about what you want. And as I said, we are actually here live. So we're going to go back to your calls in a moment. We were discussing the issue of drug decriminalization, drug legalization. One of our callers suggested a plan which would involve a government-created organization, or government-sponsored, as he put it, organization called the Addiction Control Board, which would put a tax on manufacturers, basically, on distributors, and then use that money to ostensibly help people with addiction. And it certainly sounds maybe preferable to the current situation, which would be prohibition. So, I mean, I'll give him that. As far as politically palatable programs are concerned, I think that would be something you could persuade some state representatives or whatever to possibly support. On the downside, as you pointed out, Conan, he's talking about creating an entirely new government bureaucracy with the ability to tax. And with the ability to tax comes the ability to control. It's right there in their name, the Addiction Control Board. And you better believe they're going to want to control, just in the same way that the government acts like marijuana, being an uncontrolled plant that just grows in the wilderness, is going to be a threat to all human existence. The police love to act like they need to have total micromanaging control over the cannabis industry. They act like the children need to be protected. That's why there was actually an argument over whether an ounce of weed should be decriminalized or if it should be reduced to 3/4 of an ounce. And they literally used the children as an excuse, as though a 1/4 ounce is going to somehow protect the children or not protect the children.
Mm-hmm.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so that led me to an article that I wrote over at freekeen.com. It's entitled NH Libertarian Senate Candidate's Response to an NEA Questionnaire on Education. And in this article, I kind of put forth my proposal for how do we get from where we are today, which is to say government-run education monopoly, state indoctrination, day prisons, basically. How do we get from that to a free marketplace in education where the government no longer taxes people and the government schools don't exist anymore in the current form that they do? And in short, my proposal is that you should just go ahead and give the schools to the teachers. Make them and the former... current staff and former staff. So the ones that are taking the pensions and the ones that are currently on staff. They should all get shares in what is now going to be a self-governing, self-controlled organization. And let them figure it out. Let them figure out tuition. Let them figure out scholarships. Let them figure out how to pay their staff. Let them figure it all out for themselves.
And hey, the good news, Ian, these are all educated individuals.
Right.
Who you think would be able to figure that out that day, that afternoon. Hey, we have the schools. They're all in our possession. We have to take care of ourselves.
It might take a little longer than an afternoon.
Oh, well, but I mean, you would think that if anybody out there could figure something out, they would.
Well, if they're given the right incentives, they will. And
yeah, it's called money. It's called their paycheck. If you
losing it.
If you don't teach your children well, I'm thinking of the song. And if you make the students and the parents unhappy, and they decide that they're going to go over to school C down the road, who are teaching, I mean, you're going to figure it out real quick that you have to do something that makes the parents and the kids happy. Otherwise,
or you go out of business,
your paycheck,
or you lose your job, you go out of business, and somebody comes in and buys your assets at pennies on the dollar. And that's sort of the proposal that I made here. And what I wanted to relate was this idea that, people are so in their mindset, they're so in their current set of beliefs that it's hard for them to break out. I pointed out that I've proposed this concept before on the radio. There used to be a show, you and I used to be regular callers to it, on the air here in Keene, New Hampshire on Saturday mornings. It was hosted by a former city councilor named Cynthia. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those Saturday morning local political issues kind of talk shows. And they still have one that's like that, but it's got different hosts now, and it's a different name. But
just as liberal progressive.
Yeah, I haven't listened in a long time. The
Saturday show. I can't because I work Saturdays, and I'm in the wrong town. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
And so this lady, I don't know if I would call her a liberal progressive. I think she used to be a Republican, but she's a statist.
She does not legislate like a conservative Republican.
Well, I mean, conservative Republicans love the government too. They just love their government, their favorite agencies.
Well, they love it a little. They grow a little less fast.
That's true. In New Hampshire, at least, that's somewhat true.
Yeah.
But the point I wanted to make was that I have made this argument before of, hey, why don't we just go ahead and give the schools to the teachers and, let them figure it all out. Let people support the schools they want to support, because one of the biggest problems with the government education system is not that the people that are running it are bad, it's the system is bad. And so it turns neighbors against one another. They're constantly fighting over all these piddly little issues. The NEA brings up some of them in their questionnaire to me. Pensions, charter schools, vouchers. These are three things that the NEA, the National Education Association, the Union of Teachers, that's who these people are, those are things they're concerned with. And these are things that people fight over. Some people support charter schools. Some people are against charter schools. Some people support vouchers. Some people are against vouchers. Some people support, pensions. Some people want to cut back the pensions. And so you get neighbor fighting neighbor. When in the marketplace, you don't have people fighting Target versus Walmart.
Yeah, every year I go to these silly school meetings, these Saturday morning school meetings.
We do,
on the budget, and I look around, and this is how it's always felt to me. Feels like a bunch of bandits sitting around the campfire after they just looted, they just pillaged some village.
Yeah,
and they're all fighting and arguing over how they're going to split up the spoils. Yeah. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, and I see it every time. And you have made this. You've brought up this same discussion at these meetings.
Yep.
And the people will laugh at you.
They laugh.
They'll laugh at you, and you'll be told to sit down.
Yeah.
And to stop disrupting the
Right.
event, because we're all trying to get out of here and go home. We just want to spend your money
and then go home.
And we won't see you for another 364 days.
Yes. So the response from Cynthia in the case when I would propose these things was something like, well, that she would acknowledge that sounds good. Like she could see that, people being able to have a choice? Boy, that sounds like a good idea, but it'll never happen. You can't do that. You just can't do that. I mean, the state requires blah, blah, blah. The state has to provide an adequate education or whatever the excuse is.
And by the way, that's a falsity here in our state. They always bring that up because some judge decided on it. I think it's Amendment 83 of the New Hampshire Constitution that the state provide a decent education to everybody.
Is the term. Yeah.
Adequate. And that is not what it says at all, but some judge determined that's what it said. It doesn't say that at all, but now everyone is like, all right, well, the state has to give a little bit of money, and of course the state is holding back every year, and then you'll get our school board members and administrators, and they're all like, well, we had to raise the budget because the state's not giving its fair share to us. Never mind that we have 150 less students this year than last year.
We need more money.
We need more money.
Right. That's how it works every single year after year. So the idea was like she just could not believe that a change like this could be possible.
Yeah, well, change is hard.
Right.
And she's been doing it her whole life. Until right up to the day that it breaks. Right up to the day that it breaks.
Well, she's going to die before it breaks.
And by the way, that's the one argument that we just can't do it. I mean, it's just never been done before. It's just scary.
Well, right, because it's always been this way.
And the other one is poor kids.
Yes.
Well,
and I addressed that
too. What about the poor kids who can't go to the nice rich school A? They have to go to school C, and they won't have a language arts class, or they won't have after-school sports. And
well, what about the poor, Conan? What about them?
Well, hey, whatever doesn't kill you makes you strong.
It's charity.
I grew up in poor schools, and I have an interesting
poor government
upbringing.
Schools. You mean?
Because I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
I was private school. I was public school.
Oh wow!
I was no school, so I got to see
the whole thing.
I got to see the whole package, and so I think I have a pretty good idea what works, what doesn't, and hey, poor schools didn't hurt me.
All right, we're going to continue here in moments. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. Hey, well, that's what scholarships are for. That's what charity is for. Whether it be from churches or whether it be from local business or whoever, the poor will be taken care of. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
If you like alkaline water, or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dylan Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dylan bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dylan bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dylan bottle today at dyln.co. That's dyln.co.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Hey, Free Talk Live here. We'll take your calls about anything you want to talk about. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Welcome to the Independence Day edition of the show. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
Zencash is a great cryptocurrency that you want to look at if you're looking into the world of other options besides Bitcoin. Everybody knows about Bitcoin. It's the number one, the original, the granddaddy of all other cryptocurrencies. And Zencash was created fairly recently. It was 2017 when it came out, but it's really risen to some level of prominence. It's got over 12,000 secure nodes in its system, which makes it one of the most secure. I think it's like the top 2. I think it's under Ethereum, so it's number 2, I think, to Ethereum as far as number of nodes in its system. It has more nodes than Bitcoin does. So that's pretty impressive. Zencash is also impressive because it was created by voluntarists. In fact, they wrote the ideas of voluntary interaction into the white paper for Zencash, which I've never heard of that happening before with any other cryptocurrency. And they also use some of the best privacy technology, zero-knowledge anonymity. You can learn more about that. If you're into privacy, you really ought to look into Zencash. If you care about liberty and economics, you really ought to look into Zencash at zencash.com. That's Zencash with a Z. Zencash.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts here, we can talk more about government education. We can come back around to the Declaration of Independence in a little bit. But first, David is on the line in New Mexico and on via Skype. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, at Albuquerque, New Mexico. So let me get this straight, Ian. So on the day that we celebrate the taking of the land from the Indians, you went to their place and ate their food too?
I don't think that's what's being celebrated on Independence Day, but I went to an Indian restaurant, not an American Indian restaurant.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's different. All right, I just wanted to clear that up. So on the subject of Independence Day, the Declaration of Independence,
yeah,
I have a comment. But first of all, you had a caller earlier talking about NGOs taking money from the taxpayers via the government, and then putting onto the people by force their will as to what they're going to do with them. Sounds vaguely like there's an actual phrase that everybody in the legal industry recognizes called the courthouse cottage industry. Have you heard that term?
Okay.
So say that again. The courthouse what? Cottage?
Yeah, the courthouse cottage industry. And what that is, that's that's all of the people that make money off of all of the activity that surrounds the courthouse.
Right.
Which would be the law school and
law
the
firms.
legislature, law firms, lobbyists, parking lots outside the courthouse, therapists.
All the services that the courthouse is, like exclusive translation services. The lawyers have different services for, searching through the laws and things like that. There's all kinds of
and
crap
don't forget
like that.
me. I sell their law books to them via Amazon.
There you go.
Yeah, it's industrial complex.
Right.
You're
and
part
so
of it.
That yeah. That is what happens with that. If you look at people, the drug courts and the treatment centers, the treatment might be free to the person going to treatment, but that money's coming from somewhere. Usually the taxpayers somehow are getting funded X number of thousands per dude that ends up there for treatment, and that's the kind of thing that would happen with this. And if you go to you've been to the legislature, so you've seen the lobbyists, and you've seen there are lobbyists that represent, they're straight up. They represent corporations, the for-profit business industries. But there for every one of those, there is at least one more of those that are representing some non-governmental organization that protects children. Like you said, like you just got done saying, the children for the children. So, and these lobbyists, they get their salary from the NGO, like ones that would be created with this drug thing. They get their salaries and expenses paid by those NGOs, and those NGOs get their money through grants from the government, which comes from your tax dollars, or they get straight out donations from corporations, think of whatever corporation you've seen advertised, like the Ford Foundation or the Carnegie or whoever. Yeah. And
the Partnership for a Drug-Free America, for instance, which has Budweiser and others.
Exactly. And those people, those people that are in those supposed helping NGOs, those are the same people. If you watch them, they're also the ones that have been in and out of government itself, and so they might be working for the government one day,
and then they go and they become a CEO at one of these other organizations.
Yeah, the CDC is a prime example. Their CEOs are constantly swapping from government lobbyist to CEO of that company.
It's all a good old boys network, basically.
Exactly, and that's what will happen. And they are and those are the people. Without going into my whole story, those are the people that did me in. Those do-gooders, that have their little, whatever their agenda is, whether it's women's rights or abortion rights or anti-male something or for the children something else. Everybody's saving the whales, to make a generic thing out of saving the whales. Everybody wants to save something, and they get up on their soapbox, on their stool, and then you give them money and power. And then they do things like they create direct relationships, like the CEO, somebody in the NGO will become already friends with whatever judge, and then they influence that judge's rulings by making phone calls and writing letters and having cocktails and whatever else.
Take them out to dinner.
It's just as incestuous as everything else. And so now my actual point was Independence Day, which is which is independence, which is symbolized and started with the legal document, the Declaration of Independence, followed by the Constitution, and the two documents work hand in hand. And if somebody asked me, what is the main idea, student David, of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the main idea to me would be life, liberty, and property, or if you want to call it happiness, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And somehow tied in with our rights, usually referred to as unalienable rights. And so I'm totally turned off to this country after what has happened to me in my life. And
sure.
Let me just pose a question. That ties my situation in specifically to Independence Day, to the Declaration of Independence, to life, liberty, property. Where in that most important idea, protected by the Declaration of Independence and Constitution, where in life, liberty, and property, or life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where in there do my children fall? Are they life? Are they liberty? Are they property? Are they happiness? What are they? And where has my government protected my and my children's rights in my situation. So,
well, they took your kids from you, so I imagine that the answer would be they did not protect in any way, shape, or form your right to pursue happiness. I would say it's under life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, kids are new life, and you should have the liberty to have some level of interaction with them, and part of all of that is your pursuit of your happiness. It's clearly that has all been completely bastardized and thrown away by this government. Thank you, David, for the call tonight and the perspective. Appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I know, Conan, you've had some courtroom dealings in the past. You have a daughter.
I was very lucky. My situation, I was very lucky because I hear the horror stories, even from some people we know here in the area who are going through getting, the child services and getting rubbed
nightmares
the wrong way. It's nightmares.
Dude set himself on fire out in front of the courthouse. 7 years ago, I think, at this point, because he was so frustrated with the government family court system.
Yeah, it's a real hard deal that people have to put up with, and I was very lucky.
Meaning that you continued to...
I continued to raise my daughter, and I didn't have anybody in my way. There was one incident where I had a run-in with Children's Services, and I'll tell you, that whole year I dealt with them, I was lapping up, I was, kissing their feet, kissing their hands, just to get them off my case because I knew how much power they had.
That's tough. Let's go to Kirby on the line in Indianapolis, watching us on YouTube. Hello, Kirby.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Hey there. Good morning.
I say good morning because I work third shift.
Excellent.
I did that for a couple of years.
Yeah, well, I've done it for the last 8. But
what's on your mind tonight, Kirby?
Drugs, man, we need to legalize it.
Yes, sir.
Let
All
the
of it.
ATF tax it like they do everything else.
Well, I don't agree with taxes.
Well, I mean, they're going to tax it, so we just have to live with that.
That's true.
I'd like to get around taxes, but the people in this country don't have the testicular fortitude to do that.
No doubt. They don't seem to have any testicular fortitude. I said they don't seem to have any testicular fortitude to do much of anything differently.
No, they don't.
Except stick their heads in the sand.
In reference to Independence Day.
Hold that thought, Kirby. I know you got something to say. I want to make sure you get it out here. If you've got time, I know you're at work or you're going to work.
Yeah.
So stand by if you can through the news. We're going to bring you right back here in moments. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. He's going to comment on Independence Day. We got some comments as well. Conan, you want to talk about a comma or a period? And apparently this matters.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get into that. Hour number 3. Where's Daryl when you need him for the minutia?
Yeah, he'd love
Free
this.
Talk Live.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Fire your stockbroker and hire yourself. I'm Scott Bauer, and I've been a professional trader for over 25 years. I've traded for Goldman Sachs and was the first Amazon market maker at the Chicago Board Options Exchange. I'm also the CEO here at Prosper Trading Academy, the leading educational firm teaching people how to trade the markets. For a limited time, I'm giving away one of my favorite secret trading techniques used by thousands of our students every day to help build their financial future. To learn this technique right now, call my 24/7 voicemail and just leave your email address. I'll email you my free trading technique right away. Just call 1-800-228-2155. This is the very information my students use every day to invest in their financial future. Again, call 1-800-228-2155 in the next 30 minutes and leave your email address on my voicemail. That's 1-800-228-2155. Call 1-800-228-2155.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Libertarian National Convention in New Orleans, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 1st, 2018. Silver's trading at $16.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,253 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $18, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,566. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military has formally ended a 70-year presence in the South Korean capital of Seoul on Friday with the opening of a new military headquarters further south in the city of Appointing. The U.S. had forces in Seoul since shortly after World War II. The new base is further south and therefore out of range of North Korean artillery. The relocation has been planned for some time, though the priority is clearly lessened with North Korea in talks to relocate its artillery and peace talks underway. Still, U.S. military brass are presenting the new base as proof of a long-term commitment to South Korea, a commitment that may not have any practical justification if the peace process is completed. The base costs $10.8 billion, and U.S. officials are emphasizing that the South Koreans paid 90% of that. Pyeongtaek is a port city on the western coast of South Korea. The new base, Camp Humphreys, is intended to accommodate 43,000 people by the end of 2022. South Korean officials have said that they are keen to keep a large U.S. military presence in their country, largely believing it is an economic boom for the host city.
Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
UPI reports hundreds of marchers across the United States on Saturday drew thousands of protesters demanding the Trump administration reunite families separated at the U.S.-Mexico border. In cities from New York to Los Angeles and conservative strongholds across the Deep South, Families Belong Together rallies drew people from both sides of the issue to more than 700 marches scheduled throughout the country. Political and public outcry against the Trump administration's policies of separating parents from children upon arrest prompted the president to sign an executive order last week saying parents and children would be kept together in detention. Administration officials have offered different explanations for how the policy would be implemented and how and when all approximately 2,300 children would be reunited with parents. Sunday's events were a call to President Trump to reunite the families immediately, cease family detention, and reverse the administration's zero-tolerance border crossing policy, according to organizers. A statement from Families Belong Together obtained by NBC News said parents should not be criminally prosecuted for doing what all parents do, which is to bring their children to safety. This horrible nightmare for families will end only when the Trump administration permanently stops his 100% prosecution policy. In New York City, about 30,000 people showed up for a march across the Brooklyn Bridge, chanting, "Immigrants built this bridge." Sweltering heat did not deter thousands gathered at the White House for one of the day's largest protests, which included many wearing white for the cause and carrying signs that read, "What's next? Concentration camps," and "I care. Do you?" in reference to a jacket First Lady Melania Trump recently wore on a trip to visit child migrants. Civil rights icon John Lewis of Georgia joined demonstrators in Atlanta and drew parallels between Saturday's protest and the anti-segregation rallies in the 1960s. Lewis said, "As a nation and a people, we can do better. Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep marching." During the rallies, the president tweeted about the current immigration laws, saying, "When people come into our country illegally, we must immediately escort them back without going through years of legal maneuvering. Our laws are the dumbest anywhere in the world. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Dems want open borders and are weak on crime." Counter-protesters showed up at many rallies, including Washington, Phoenix, and Boston, and carried Trump flags and shouted, "Build that wall." In Alabama, one counter-protester was taken into custody after pulling a gun in Huntsville. No shots were fired and no injuries were reported, according to police. Police say the man pulled the gun when he got into a verbal confrontation with a protester.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of this live Independence Day edition of the show. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
We're going right back into your phone calls and thoughts. But then coming up, Conan, you're going to be telling us about a story you were interested in, and I think it's appropriate for tonight, given that it's Independence Day, to talk about the Declaration of Independence and a comma that has been mistaken for a period, or is it the reverse? A period mistaken?
Comma that has been mistaken for a period that kind of changes the first paragraph.
Let's get into it coming up here in moments. But Kirby is still on the line with us here. I invited him to hang on through the news there because you had something else to say, I think, about independence, Kirby, and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to get that out there. So go right ahead.
Yes, sir. I am the descendant of free slaves. My great-grandparents were born as slaves. Independence Day means I have to look at it as Frederick Douglass did. What is Independence Day to a slave? I can't say that we are truly free yet because we still live in this legacy of racial hatred and animus. And Donald Trump and the alt-right and all the division in America right now proves it. So for me as a black American, yes, I love my country, but my country is a filthy, dirty whore who needs to be rehabbed.
Well, now let's make something clear here. I think a lot of people will not, and I think they should, but they won't differentiate generally when they're speaking between the country and the government. And it seems to me like, for the most part, the country, if we were to define that as the group of people within arbitrary borders in a certain landmass, I think overall, people are pretty good folks. They treat each other well. For the most part, there's some nasty folks out there, of course. Many of them work for the government. But for the most part, people get along just fine. And everybody gets along regardless of the color of their skin or their gender. When you start talking about the government, it's important to remember the government isn't us. The government isn't the country.
Oh, they say it is. They say it's of the people, for the people.
Right. They want to conflate the two together. They want you to think about them as though they're together, but they're really not. The government is the 1%. You know, these are the people who want to control your life, who want to divide you, who want to have people fighting with one another, who want to have Republicans fighting with Democrats, who want to have the school charter people fighting with the normal school people, and all these different interest groups that square off with the intention of trying to defeat the other side and then take over the control of the government. I
think it was said earlier correctly that it is a means of control. And so these same people, these same individuals that you get along just famously with every single day, it's all turned on its head when you've got government, this control feature where your neighbors have an issue with you, Ian, because you've got a couch in your yard. And
not anymore.
Instead of coming over and having a conversation with you about it, as a good neighbor would, they'll get government involved. They'll use the force and the power of government to force you to do something that they want you to do. And, of course, the couch is kind of actually, I would want you to move the couch as well. But I mean, but there are other things that, but the idea that we're not all slaves and that this is a crazy. Can I ask the caller what part of where are you from?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. I have to say that I still consider myself a young guy, and I know that there still is racism in this country. But I have to say that I don't see the horror stories that I heard of back in the day of lynchings and of people getting the dogs sicked on them and water hosed and whatnot. I have never seen it. I think that we live in so much better times than it was. And the idea that, Ian, you were talking about this division, the people in charge who are using this old stale argument to have us fighting with each other when I don't see it.
Well, you don't see them using a tactic to fight each other?
Oh, they're fighting us both now. I don't see them fighting people based on their skin color. Like they used to.
Individuals aren't fighting each other over their skin color, but the government sure would like that to happen. They want people to turn against each other.
Keep us fighting each other, right?
Right. They want to create divisions, and so they'll use every single possible division to make people think they need to be in control of the other people.
That's right, and they're bringing those divisions back. You know, for me, this all started in 2008 because America, what America's doing to Trump now, America did the Obama thing, but Obama's election or selection, however you want to look at it, gave that 1% of America who are still alpha hotels. It gave them an excuse and a reason to start injecting their venom into the rest of America. And it's easy for a white guy not to see racism because he's white. And I'm not saying that as a dig, but there's a book called Black Like Me, True Story. Read it. If you could be black for a week, you'd see a much different America.
Oh, I think that's true. I mean, we've definitely talked to black callers over the years here on Free Talk Live, and they have expressed that it's that is a very different world. You know, if you're getting pulled over, if you're a black person, the government, police, certainly there's some evidence that they're going to treat you differently. I think all Conan was saying was that there's no overt, visible, like it's not like it used to be with public lynchings or whatever. That stuff doesn't happen.
It has improved. It's still there.
Yeah,
it has improved, and I just hate that we keep talking about it. That instead of just you see racism, you need to say something. But otherwise, if it's not really there, why keep talking about it and bringing it up and just reminding everybody, and it's never going away.
Well, I don't believe in, personally, I agree with you, Conan. I think that we just need to look at individuals. We need to look at each person as an individual.
Judge
and see
the book by its cover, not by its, by its content, not by its cover.
What they say. Yeah, what they say and what they do are really the only things that matter. Kirby, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And that's, again, not to downplay Kirby or his experience or anything like that. I know I read I'm sure I've talked about this a myriad of times, but I remember reading a letter to the editor here in the newspaper in Keene, New Hampshire, and this was probably 8 or 9 years ago, by a black lady who had moved up here from actually my hometown of Sarasota, Florida, by total chance, and she was writing the newspaper to explain why she was leaving Keene. Because it's an ugly town. It was a very beautiful town to live in. She experienced racism on the streets of Keene, apparently. People saying nasty things to her to the point where she just decided she didn't want to be here anymore. And that was really shocking to me because, like you said...
I'm shocked.
Right. Like you said, you don't see those things. That's because most of those people are cowards, right? The people that... If they're even willing to say anything to you, they're not going to yell it from a megaphone. They're going to say it to you quietly under their breath or something like that as they're passing by you or whatever. And so that's why she claimed she was leaving Keene, New Hampshire. On the other hand, so to counter that story, I encountered a black gentleman who, through a friend of a friend, basically, we were at the same event, and we had a conversation, and I asked him, well, what was it like to be the only black guy at the Keene High School? Because that's what it was like for him, right? Like he was
in this town with the everyone slathering over diversity. He was probably a superstar.
Well, so I wanted to know if there was, because if you're living here, if you're raised here, you're going to get that. If there's racism, you're going to get some directed at you, right? At some point, if what the lady wrote in her letter was true. And I'm not saying it wasn't true what she said. She had one experience. His experience was different. His experience was that he was treated differently, but it wasn't because the people were racist. It was, in his mind, it was because they'd just never seen a black man before.
Yeah.
In real life.
Oh, my lucky stars, a black man.
Right. Like, they treated him differently, and, I don't know what that exactly meant. He didn't seem like he felt like they were hating towards him.
They probably were.
Just was awkward, I guess.
I think that they were probably watching everything they said and being very careful in the midst of this young black man, because they've been raised that way. It's like, oh my God, we had to be very careful. We don't want to.
Yeah, but high school's not like that, man. If somebody's going to talk some trash,
not our high school. When we grew up in Florida with lots of black kids. It's got to be a lot different here in this area where there's might be one or two black kids.
There's more coming up here in moments. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You're listening to the best Liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free if you want to join us here on this live Independence Day edition of the program. The phones are always open for you at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And also, you can join us via Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Plus, we've got Discord. It is our server. It's a chat server with different chat rooms. Some of them are voice chats, and most of them are text chat rooms. Most of the folks spend time in the text chats, but every now and then after the show, sometimes our listeners will jump into a voice chat with each other and talk about stuff. And it's there for you 24/7. Before, during, and after the show, you can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners, some of whom you'll recognize as callers to the show, like Gene the Christian Anarchist. He's in there quite a bit. And so you recognize some names in there. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You can go over to discord.lrn.fm. And that first room, that first chat room, is the Discord on-air call-in line room, which actually allows you to get on the air with us. And it sounds really good. It sounds like you're almost sitting in the studio with us here. So I've been really happy with Discord. And people appear to like it because they keep coming back.
Yep.
Which is
it's very civil this evening, guys. Very civil.
Are they being being well behaved?
They're watching. They're all mannerly and whatnot.
Well, if you don't get along with somebody, there's a block feature, so you can always just hit
blocking
the block
is cowardice. Don't block anybody unless there's one guy I might block, but I haven't even blocked him yet.
Who? Witt? James Witt?
Yep. He sent me direct messages, and I'm just
I'm tired of his direct messages, so I blocked his ass. But the nice thing is you can when somebody's blocked, if they chat in the chat room, it'll show you blocked message, and you can always click on it to see what it says. So if you ever feel like you want to see what he has to say, you can see it. And I clicked on one of his messages because we created a room just for him. It's called Toxic User Zone, not safe for work. And I relegated him to just that one room, so he can't go into any of the other rooms. And if we ever get any other truly toxic users, I'll add them to that category. But so far, we only have one. And he, of course, posted something within the last 24 hours, so I clicked on it. And as usual, he's talking about he always loves to write in all caps, "I'm going to love watching Jackie Edgington suffer," which is Mark's son. So he's constantly basically suggesting violence.
The hell, dude?
Oh yeah, man. He's got some kind of sick obsession.
Leave the kids out of it.
I know.
Jesus.
It's really sad, isn't it? It's really sad. So anyway, you can go over there and you can talk to a psychopath if you want. He's hanging out sometimes, but otherwise, most of the people are pretty well behaved on the Free Talk Live Discord server. Go to discord.lrn.fm. Let's see. What were we talking about, Conan?
You know what? We were talking about how I've never seen the racism. Because of where?
Because you are white.
Because I'm white, and how can I possibly understand? Well, let me go back.
I don't think we could.
I was talking about how some of my schooling, some of my upbringing. Yeah. I had the choice when it came to high school. I had three choices. I lived on the corner of 4 counties, so there were 3 schools I chose from, and the actual county that I lived in, I would have been a minority. Mm-hmm. There was at least 60% black, and the rest were white and Hispanic. And then the school that all of my friends went to, it was like a third, black, Hispanic, Latin, white.
Okay.
And that's all my people went to. The people I played soccer with, the people, my neighbors, they all went to the school. I ended up going to the most academically successful school, which had only 3 black dudes. And they were all half black, half white, and they were all extremely popular for whatever reason. I think they kind of had what was going on here in Keene, where it was just, this is 20 years ago. But I think that people were, for whatever reason, these guys were very popular, all three football players, and they got along famously. So I guess I haven't seen it. Here in Keene, I mean, it's just there's not a whole lot of black guys.
There's
here.
not, although I've been seeing more recently. There's a few in the neighborhood actually that will like ride by on their bicycles, and I always smile, wave, say hello. I want to run up to him and hug him and thank him for coming to Keene, but I think that would be a little inappropriate. Just because it's nice to see a little diversity up here.
I work at Enterprise a couple of days out of the week, and so one of my coworkers, he was a student at the time. He's from Connecticut, and he decided he was going to move back to his family and whatnot. But oh my God, we got along famously.
Was he black?
He was black,
Oh,
very
okay.
very black, very dark skinned black, and we got along famously for one reason, because I was constantly throwing stereotypes at him. He loved it. He's like I don't get that. Ever.
Like what? Give me an example. What do you mean you threw a stereotype?
I would
at him?
laugh. He would shoot a basket into a garbage basket, and I would stop and give him like the eyebrow, and he knew exactly where I was going with it, and he would just he loved it. He did say he had one racist encounter while he was here in Keene. He was walking down Main Street, and some redneck, some hick, was just standing out there. He was obviously drunk.
Yep.
And he's just standing there, swaying. And this guy and my friend kept getting closer and closer and closer to him. And finally, he was right next to the guy, and the guy was, F Obama! And that was it.
Ridiculous.
That's all he said. He says that was, that was it. He said that didn't, it never happened.
I'll give another story.
There was one thing he missed, and he missed being around black people.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to get back to that environment. I can understand that, I guess.
I'll give you another story. So I went to jail back in 2011 for standing in front of a police car and civil disobedience. Went to jail for what was a 90-day sentence. Ended up spending 58 days in there, and there was a black guy who was in my cell block.
And this wasn't the security guard. This was actually
no. Well, there was actually a black CO, corrections officer, who ended up actually quitting his job and then being this keynote speaker at Keenvention after that, and that was pretty awesome. His name's Brian Tan. Ended up leaving the area, moving to Pittsburgh, and he's actually a science fiction author or something like that these days.
Interesting.
Some kind of a fiction author. But anyway, I'm talking about the guy in the cell block with me as an inmate. His name was Johnny, and he was a Muslim. And so we did some studying of Muslim things together. That was when I read the Quran while I was in there. And there was also at one point an actual white supremacist kind of gang member who was in the same cell block,
like with tats and stuff, like KKK tats.
I forget how it came to my attention that he was a white supremacist kind of dude. But I can tell you this. He did not have much in the way of friends in that cell block. There was not any kind of division where the whole cell block was against the black guy and in favor of
Johnny didn't have friends, or the KKK didn't have friends?
The KKK guy. The white supremacist guy. He seemed to be kind of on his own. He was not necessarily a well-liked person within there. And Johnny, the black guy, seemed to get along fine with pretty much everybody in the cell block. So that would tell me, if indeed Keene was some unusually racist place, if you're in jail, you're going to see it, right? Because that's where you see racism, is when you're in these government institutions in a lot of cases where people will divide off by the color of their skin. In this case, the black guy didn't have any problem socializing with
And how old
people.
was Johnny at the time?
I'd say he was my contemporary, so early 30s.
Yeah, you were talking about the school system and the kids being a little on edge with the one black kid that you were talking about.
The black guy, and he was also my age. He was maybe in his 30s as well. So we would have gone to school in the 90s.
I think these young snowflakes, I really do believe that they've been hearing this argument so often and so many times that they really do walk on eggshells when it comes to dealing with minorities, and not just blacks,
well,
but
that's why
all
I say,
minorities.
if you don't see it in jail, it's not really a thing, right? Like if you don't
this is
see
your
racism,
contemporary. I'm talking about 2 generations down from us.
Yeah, more coming up here in moments. Your calls, your thoughts here. Welcome 855-450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live on Independence Day.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmas-time happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. It is the Independence Day edition of the show. You can take control of the airwaves here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I mentioned earlier we've got our Discord chat room over at discord.lrn.fm. We started that back in January of this year, and it has done very, very well. Lots of people in there every single day. That's how you know when it's working, is people come back. And they keep using it. And thankfully, also, people are using our Twitch as well. And we got people in there every single night watching us on the Twitch platform, which is completely free way for you to watch the video feed coming from this studio. Now, even though we're still on YouTube, we actually had a couple callers tonight saying they were listening through YouTube. The YouTube is a low-resolution version of the show. It's the same live show. It's just a fraction of the resolution. It's 360p compared to 720p, so there's way more pixels for you to enjoy on our Twitch feed. And we've been topless tonight for those of you that are...
Yeah, if anyone who wants to see nipples.
And by the way, somebody suggested we were violating Twitch's terms of service.
Really?
By doing this, and I went and I looked to see what their terms are, because, you know, who actually reads that crap?
It probably says nothing lewd.
Well, what it says is that you're supposed to wear like what you would normally wear, basically.
which is
what we normally do. Like, it's hot
it's
out
hot.
here.
It's 90 degrees outside.
So I've had my shirt off all day long. I've been on the porch. It's not that cold in the studio. Like, it's, you know, it's comfortable.
You got the doors closed here.
It's much nicer in the studio
cold
than the rest of the outside. That's for sure. But so these aren't unusual forms of dress for you or I, Conan, in this case. In fact, in a lot of cases, I will put shirts on before I do the show, simply because most nights I don't have somebody else who's willing to do the show topless, and it's more fun to do things like that together.
Yep.
But the rule was made for like people who would be in their bra and panties or something like that on Twitch, and in a situation in which they wouldn't normally be doing that they would be doing it for the purposes of titillation and that kind of thing. So it's my argument that we don't violate the terms of service on Twitch. But anyway, twitch.lrn.fm is where you can watch the official video feed for Free Talk Live. Follow us on there if you would, please. It makes a big difference when you do that, because it means you'll get notices if you have your notices turned on your Twitch account. You'll get a little ping whenever we go live. And you can do notices via email, or you can do it via the Twitch app on your smart device. And if you also have Amazon Prime, you can link up your Twitch account with your Amazon account, link your Prime over to Twitch, and then you get one free subscription as one of your perks for Amazon Prime. So you may not have you might not have known that, because Amazon throws you all kinds of like bonuses for signing up for Amazon Prime. There's like the Amazon Music.
Oh, they're trying to get you hooked.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
Trying to get you hooked.
I mean, Prime's not a bad service. It really isn't. For people that order stuff on Amazon. Personally, I don't, because I order through SaveItPurse.com and I save 20%. So I still get stuff through Amazon just going through Save It Purse. But anyway, if you're using Amazon Prime, link up your accounts. The instructions are real easy to do, and they're right there on our Twitch page. Just scroll down a little bit below the video, and you'll find those. Twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. As we continue here, your calls and thoughts. Of course, you're welcome to bring up what you want. We were talking about racism in New Hampshire. And, the fact is, we're a couple white guys.
In a white town.
Right. And we don't know what it's like. However, we've had some experiences to where you knew a guy that you were working with. He left town, not because he was experiencing racism, but because he just wanted to go back to where he came from and be with more people that he could relate to. And
which is completely understandable. That's what I don't hang out with people who I don't relate to. I try to go and surround myself with people, like-minded people, and sometimes it just happens to be that they're same skin color.
Yeah, I mean, I don't relate to white people, but I understand that there's certain cultural elements.
I'm a gamer. I mean, I like fantasy stuff. I mean,
what game are you playing right now?
I'm still playing Star Wars and South Park.
Star Wars
Galaxy of Heroes and South Park.
What's Galaxy of Heroes? What is that?
It is. They're both very similar. They're character collecting games, energy based.
A role playing game?
Yeah, no, it's a PvP.
Player versus player.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's an online fighting game kind of thing. Like with spells or using the Force, or
no, I guess it depends on midichlorians versus star wizards.
Okay,
so it used to be magic, and now it's not anymore. Now it's science fiction.
Gotcha.
But I've been playing that for many years, and of course the South Park phone destroy is a little simpler. It's a little harder. There's a little more action, taking place, but I definitely recommend it. It's way too late for Star Wars. It's been out too long.
Yeah.
To start playing it now, just too much collecting you have to do. South Park, you could probably catch up if you started now, but
let's change gears. Let's get into this story you wanted to share, since it is Independence Day, about the Declaration of Independence and a comma or a period, some controversy over that. You say it's important. Tell us about it.
I find it very important, and I would have been very curious if Daryl was here, if he had ever heard this story. It's been this came out big back in 2014. I'm reading the Vox article. There's a better, more detailed article over at the New York Times, but this is more radio friendly.
Okay.
There is a chance that we've been reading the Declaration wrong for over 200 years, according to Danielle Allen, a professor of social sciences at the Institute of Advanced Study. The most common reproduction of the Declaration contains an extra period that changes the meaning of Jefferson's original words. It's the difference between a good government and bad government, she says.
Huh.
All right, here's the version almost everyone knows, and I think it's important that I read it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, period.
Yeah.
And it continues that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Now, the period after happiness in the original, many historians are starting to think was actually a comma. So then, so it is
the period after the first happiness. Right. There was two happinesses.
So endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Stop. But if there was a comma there, the next part, it wouldn't be just two issues that they were making of importance. The third issue of importance would be, this is what government is supposed to do, and guess what? If government doesn't do these things for you, you need to abolish it.
All right, so I'm looking at this here on the ushistory.org, and I'm not following the point that the comma would make a difference here. Why is a comma... What's the argument that putting a comma in after, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, comma, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, and then another comma, and then more. Like, what's the argument that makes any difference whatsoever, besides just style?
Instead of just 2 bullet points of importance, it's 3 bullet points. So you have all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And one more thing that's very, very important, these governments are instituted by men. They receive their powers from the consent of the people, and that if they mess up and you can't do anything about it, you abolish them and create a new one, or and whatever form you see fit.
So you're saying this is essentially a bulleted list, that every that starts one of the points?
Well, every comma starts a new point, correct?
I guess I'm not getting it. I'm not understanding why it would matter.
Well, I think I think that
the information doesn't change based on whether or not there's a comma or a period in there.
Yeah, but just like when was it Dave who called, or was it Matthew? He ended on liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and he stopped right there. He didn't talk about any of the rest, and no one ever does.
Oh, I see.
It's always
a
been
mental
left
thing.
out.
You're saying it's a mental thing. All right. So we're going to do some Edgington Post coming up here. It's been the live episode of Free Talk Live. We'll see you tomorrow night online at freetalklive.com. Edgington Post coming up shortly.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Over the last 4 years, 3 of the biggest online precious metals dealers have gone bankrupt and their owners put in prison due to theft and fraud. Having previously purchased precious metals, can you be sure you purchased the right product? Did you receive proper advice? Or were you stung by one of these companies? Miles Franklin has been in business for 29 years without receiving any material customer or regulatory complaints ever. Maintaining an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating and residing in Minnesota, the only state in America that regulates the precious metals industry, making doing business in precious metals with Miles Franklin the safest choice, bar none. Call us at 866-485-4346 and let us review your portfolio at no commitment whatsoever. Again, that's 866-485-4346. Get the peace of mind you deserve in working with the precious metals company with a reputation like Miles Franklin. Again, that's 866-485-4346. Miles Franklin Precious Metals, the name you can trust.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show here on Free Talk Live. I am Mark Edge, and I have with me Daniel Miller, who's the author of a book on Texit. I've heard of Brexit. What's Texit?
If you understand Brexit, then you're definitely in the ballpark. Essentially, just as Brexit was a term that the entire effort to get the UK out of the EU became, that term Brexit came about because of that. Texit has been used to describe the process of Texas also becoming a self-governing independent nation.
Now, is Texas the only state of the union that can, in its constitution, can secede? I've heard that.
Yeah, it really is a fairly common misconception, and one that I spent a good bit of time tackling in the book. When you begin to understand what the true nature of the federal union, the United States of America, when you understand what the true nature of it is, it becomes immediately apparent that no state in particular has an exclusive right to leave the union. It's one that's actually shared by every state unless the state itself prohibits it, which is actually the case for, say, the state of Nevada, where in their constitution they have a specific provision forbidding them from leaving the union. So it is definitely a right that's enjoyed by any state of the union.
So Texas doesn't have anything in particular in their constitution about secession?
No, but here's what's interesting also about that is that when you begin to look at the various state constitutions, like a good example would be New York, almost immediately after the ratification of the United States Constitution. For almost 100 years plus, New York had a provision in their state constitution that explicitly reserved the right to leave the union. Then you get into Texas specifically. And what you find is that since the 1836 Constitution of the Republic of Texas, back for the 9 years we were an independent republic, all the way through to the current post-Civil War Constitution, you find this very explicit restatement of the right of self-government. Really, to paraphrase, if you're going to synthesize them all, it essentially says that all political powers inherent in the people, all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit, and the people have at all times the inalienable right to reform, alter, or abolish their form of government in such manner as they may think expedient.
That sounds pretty close to the Declaration of Independence wording.
Yeah, it's absolutely Jeffersonian. I mean, there's no doubt what the inspiration is. But, given the history that Texas had with Mexico and especially with the Mexican Revolution, it's no doubt that the founders of Texas and subsequent generations wanted to ensure that right was enshrined. And currently it sits at Article 1, Section 2 of our Constitution, which, again, is a post-Civil War Constitution. So, this right of self-determination is something that is enjoyed by people, sometimes explicitly, sometimes implied, but it is a fundamental right, no less.
Yeah, I think that mostly what Jefferson was just trying to say is ultimately, if enough people are mad at their government, the government isn't going to function. These are people that had, in the case of Jefferson, they hadn't yet entered into the, putting their blood and their sweat and their tears behind their commitment. But at the very least, they intended to. And the Declaration of Independence just basically says that ultimately, if people are unhappy enough, your government isn't going to function. And in that case, the government didn't function because they were willing to put bullets in, the people that were claiming to govern them.
Right. Well, and really, when you begin to examine Texas, especially in the book, as I channeled, 20 plus years of advocating for this position for Texas into this book. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was that not just Texans, but people that were looking out at what we are doing here in Texas could understand that if they're within the federal union right now, the grievances that Texans have in a large majority are those same grievances that are shared by people in many other states. Now, we have some unique situations that are here in Texas, unique to our situation, of course, but there is this common thread. When people ask me why support for Texas has grown, I have to really consolidate it down, because in the time of talking to thousands of Texans all over this last 2 decades, people look at this a lot of different ways. But if you're going to boil it down, especially to the grievances against the federal government, it's simply this. It's that the people are sick and tired of living under 180,000 pages of federal laws, rules, and regulations administered by 440 separate agencies and 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats. At the end of the day, Texans believe that the best people to govern Texas are Texans.
Why wouldn't they think that? I mean, I've got to say that I find a great offense that when I was holding my young son at the time in my arms, he's less than a year old, as an infant, the United States federal government says, you owe me $60,000, $100,000. Just the very fact that he happened to be born on this piece of land and that politicians have been rapacious and irresponsible over the course of many generations, he's just got this big debt to pay off.
Right. Well, obviously there are a lot of economic drivers to this issue. If you want to go back and compare it to the issue of Brexit, I mean, there were an awful lot of economic drivers there as well. But here in Texas, it really spills out beyond the economic motivations, although they are fairly large. A good example of that is for decades now, Texas has overpaid into the union. In essence, Texas taxpayers are paying more into the union than we get out of it. And it's simple math. But when you look at it and you realize that it's to the tune of anywhere from, on average, about $103 to $150 billion every single solitary year, that's really, it's like Hurricane Harvey hitting Texas every 9 months. That money that's being sapped out of our economy. And so when Texans look at that money going to the federal government and being wasted on things like, quote unquote, scientific studies to determine how to decrease alcohol consumption by Chinese prostitutes. I mean, that's a literal study they did. Or, the real issues that we have going on down here with hurricane mitigation, the border, immigration, public education, whatever it is that could be solved if we weren't being robbed of that money every single solitary year. Texans are finding it harder and harder to swallow being a part of the union. It's why often when we meet opposition, we just turn the tables on them and we say, hey, look, if Texas were an independent nation right now, would you vote to join the union, and what would those selling points be?
When you say vote to join the union with the United States of America, I get it. If Texas was independent, would you join the United States of America, and why? It's a great question. I would say that the thing that the U.S. has is it has the U.S. dollar, the world reserve currency. That's pretty powerful. It's got a darn big military, but it doesn't seem likely that they'll use it against Texas.
Yeah, you look at all of those issues like the currency issue. We get what if to death. And it's, again, one of the reasons that I wanted to write this book was to address all those issues. But what I think is interesting is that so many people don't understand the level at which these types of things work. For example, let's take the currency, for example. There are plenty of countries around the world that have adopted the United States dollar in what's called an informal currency union. They've said, hey, this is going to be our currency for our country. Now, we understand that in this informal currency union, we don't have any say in monetary policy and all the things that go along with it. But some countries adopt it as their national currency. We don't need the United States permission to do that if that's what we choose to do. Now, obviously, Texas would probably want to do something different given how the dollar is becoming weaker. But then you look at something like mutual defense. You look at, how will Texas defend itself? Well, Texas currently has its own military. Most people don't realize that. But Texas currently has its own military.
Can you describe this military to me?
Sure. We have 2 separate fighter wings. I mean, there's an entire list that I put in the book. But we have obviously a bifurcated command with the National Guard units, but we also have the Texas State Guard. And, they're fully military capable, fully military ready, and all they need is to be fully militarized. So you have the makings of a national defense. And so if an independent Texas, given what our GDP is, just spent for national defense what the NATO minimums are, the recent 2% of GDP minimums that were set as a standard by the NATO countries, Texas would have, I believe it's the 5th largest, most well-funded military in the world. And that's not insubstantial. But you also have to look at it from the standpoint that countries enter into mutual defense pacts all the time when they have shared national security concerns.
Yep.
The United States is part of one of the largest, which is NATO. But no one would suggest for a moment that just because France or Germany or any of the other countries that are in NATO are part of a mutual defense pact, that it obligates them to be part of a political and economic union that doesn't serve their interests.
It's a true statement. When you said, countries enter into these military pacts, I think about the Caribbean. There's all kinds of countries out there, and they may have disagreements with each other, but to the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been a Caribbean war between nations in a long time.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like we're living in the kind of day and age when a country the size of Texas would necessarily need to spend 2% on its military. To hear the rest of this great interview, go to archives.freetalklive.com and get the MP3. Look for today's date there and download or just listen on the web. archives.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to